free. Before I start to further discussion, I want to ask some question about this topic. How much are you really familiar with this kind of topic? Maybe everyone have some expectation what we get when we are explained about concept of being free. Is there anyone who want to give some talks about this topic? Or maybe is there anyone? So what we expect here when we are talk about being free is about the concept, like what is the definition of free. Some we said free is just a right when we have to choose anything we like, or maybe we have accomplished something that we finally be free, and that's the definition of free. Yes, Miss Nadia.
Thank you, Abian, for choosing me as the first one who talk. Concept of being free is very, very abstract, but I believe that every human seeking for this because we want to be appreciated by what we choose, and being free is actually being comfortable enough with what we have. So I believe that the concept of being free is very close to us. And Abian, if it is okay, can my friend talk?
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay, so basically we are two people here listening to your presentation. Come on.
For me personally, being free means that I can express anything transparently without having to filter it myself. Being free for me is to have the rights to be exactly who I am, being very true to my ideology, to what I think is preferable to me, and but it comes with a cost sometimes. So that's for us. That's from us. Thank you for choosing this topic, by the way.
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Yes, I think what you have said and what your friend said is quite right. So being free is basically ties on us to choose whatever we wanted, or maybe yes, like a concept of freedom. So maybe it's tied with the concept of philosophy, but our philosophy doesn't need to be according to some philosopher. You don't need to know about Aristotle, or you don't need to know about Plato or something just to learn this concept, because you basically can implement this by your own principle. So let's go to the next slide. So it's basically is another quotation of being free. So what I'm gonna discuss about it, is there any difference between each of these statement? Like the quotation, this come from mainly philosophers, so they basically have different view about being free. What is the difference, and what is the quotation here that you might have interest about? Anyone want to give their own opinion about this? Or maybe I just appointed some random person. Or maybe this concept is basically just hard as you think. For me, it's about this have too many difference about this concept. Some said that free is just a right when we able to choose whatever we think, whatever we want. But the some difference is about free is just not about fulfilling all of your need, but it's just when you be able to escape from every problems you face, then you are free. So there are very two concepts of this definition. Then we move on into the main discussion of this because their discussion is about the question: do you think that freedom should be treated as rights for everyone, or freedom should just be an award for your accomplishment? Like when you're doing your job, you gain your freedom, or maybe you think that in the beginning we should have freedom. If you want to explain, okay, Nadia.
Sorry. Is it okay if I? Okay. So for me, freedom is right.
Yeah.
Even though in real life, I also believe that freedom is a reward, but for the beginning, freedom comes as our right. Why? Because we got this from God. So freedom is actually our life, and basically because we know it as a right, that's why people have to appreciate it. People have to understand that every human in this world have freedom as their right. So we have to encourage other people also for this right. And because we also know that freedom is our right, then for the challenge or for the work or job that we face later on, freedom is no longer the thing that we count as reward, but the necessity to feel the freedom is actually the reward. So I believe that freedom basically is our right.
So why do you think it's basically your right? Because if you think that freedom is a gift from someone, maybe you have some tie about maybe someone tying you, like society things.
Freedom is a right, not doesn't mean that it is tying to the society, isn't it? It is means that in front of the law or in front of the world, you have the power to be yourself, and you are capable enough to choose what you want. So it's not about tying up to each other. Okay, maybe other people can add more information.
I think maybe anyone who wanted to have another argument about this question, because I think this could be an interesting discussion. Because before we start like to dig deeper about the freedom itself, we should understand the basic first. You should not like understanding the freedom like according to someone, but it also you can also maybe define the concept by yourself. Maybe I think the freedom is right because I can choose whatever I wanted, but maybe sometimes you think that freedom is a reward because maybe after I doing my hard work, it seems like the hard work is finished, so I might deserve some reward. What is the reward? It's the freedom. That's how I really define how freedom would like. It could be two side of things, but I mostly prefer the freedom as a reward itself because not many people actually be able to express their freedom. So maybe if anyone have different opinion about this. Okay, Mr. Haidar have an opinion. You may able.
All right. In my point of view about this question, I prefer to choose freedom is right because
Oh.
I defend about freedom.
Yes.
We act or see every person to become our lessons or our our lesson. I mean, because when we can through that, I think when we can sorry, and when we can our through that and learn about that, we can get more insight about every opinion, every perspective people in our environment. Right? So,
Okay.
and then I think freedom just uh, just about a way of our thinking about this world. Because when we can how to say accept again about every thought when we can agree about that.
Okay. Okay. So, Mr. Andres want to have an opinion. Time plus is yours.
Yes, thank you for this opportunity. Well, in my point of view, I suppose that freedom is merely a reward. The reason why I have this such standing is because um, essentially there is no the real definition of unlimited freedom. I mean, like, if we want to see that free is unlimited, and I suppose that free essentially needs to be unlimited because we can choose anything and whatever we want to do or we want to choose also. However, in reality, our freedom is limited by the intention or policy of other existence, such as government or just my neighboring friends or my family also. So why I can say that freedom is just a reward is because every time we give every time I give my respect to other people, I let them to do their own freedom, they will respect the freedom to us also. And because of this, I suppose that freedom is a reward because we need to do something before we get the freedom. So because of this consideration, freedom is a reward. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you for the opinion or the argument from Mr. Andres or anyone wanted to give another thing, another argument about this, or maybe can we just move on to the next topic? I think. So anyone want to give another argument? Because I think this perspective, there are various perspective about freedom and also different reason. Depends on how you really view or really view the world. Maybe we just move on into the next topic about this freedom. And someone said that the freedom is a right, but someone also said that freedom is a reward. The reason is may vary because freedom is a right because from the start, well, given freedom, when freedom as a reward, we need to achieve the freedom itself. So let's move on into the classification of freedom. So there are 4 classification of the kind of freedom. It's not only about the choice, but also about accomplishment. So first one, we got into the freedom of choice. So what do you think about this freedom of choice? If we define freedom of choice, is also an individual's opportunity and autonomy to perform an action, select from at least 2 viable option, unconstrained by external party. So does freedom of choice are deserved as a right, or maybe freedom of choice should be as a reward? And why freedom of choice? If you have a reason, freedom of choice, it should be a human right, then why the reason of that? Same as why the freedom of choice should be reward. Maybe anyone to want to give an opinion about this, or maybe have an argument about this. Or even you have another definition about freedom of choice. Okay, Mr. Andres.
Oh yes, well, thank you for this opportunity. I still stand on my point of view that freedom is a reward. It's not a right. Why I can say this is because we sometimes cannot choose anything freely. For instance, I cannot insist my intention for being strong when I am hungry. So I need to eat. But in my point of view, in my free will, I don't want to eat, but I want to be strong. It's kind of a contradictory situation. So there is a limitation to get a choice that we want to get. So because of this, it is a reward. Why? Because we need to do something to get a freedom. Ah, because of that, a freedom is a reward, not a right. Because if this is if freedom is a right, we can get anything that we want to get without any enforcement, without any limitation. However, in reality, it does not exist. It doesn't exist.
So if
So
you
it is
think
a
that
reward.
if you think that freedom isn't good as right, so because if freedom is not right, because its freedom is right, so people will not be able to do what they're doing best, like that. So people just thinking like they can choose everything without thinking.
Yes, if it is a right, we can do anything contradictorily. However, it is not real. So it is a reward. Thank you.
Okay, so anyone have a different opinion about this? Or maybe anyone want to refute the argument? So the argument said that freedom is a reward. Well, so the Mr. Anders' argument said freedom is a reward because yes, because if it is right, then people can choose anything and it's not controllable, and maybe it cause some chaos. So anyone have a different opinion than Mr. Andres? Maybe someone have a view like, oh, it's wrong. It's freedom is just right, not a reward. Maybe anyone have a different opinion?
Just question, please. Question, please.
Oh, the question is, Does
Yes,
freedom
for
of
Mr. Andres, please. All right, just question for Mr. Andres have opinion that right is what is a right is a reward. So the question is reward from who? Reward from
Oh.
who? Because the our for Indonesian is our constitution guarantee that the right is right. The freedom is right. I mean the freedom is right. So we can find that from the constitution that the freedom is our right. So how to defend it? The mind is question from me to Mr. Andres is how or from who we get our freedom, because Mr. Andres said that freedom is the reward. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for Mr. Antara for giving a deeper opinion. If Mr. Andres want to give a response against the argument. Okay, Mr. Andres, time and place is yours.
Oh yes, I just want to answer it simply because I just want to enhance my ability in English. I don't want to answer it rightly. Yeah. So from whom, such I said before, from reality. Because we cannot decide anything we want irrationally. If we do that, we are crazy. So because of that, it is a reward. Reward from what or which or whom? From reality. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for Mr. Andres. Maybe Mr. Antara want to give a response against this, against the statement, or maybe just the discussion just ended, or maybe is there any response? Is there any response from Mr. Antara against the statement from Mr. Andres, or maybe another person want to give?
All right. All right. Just a quick response is, what I want to say is, if we talk about the something, or we talk about the right freedom or another, we have one of theory or one of article that we can the base of the statement like freedom. So in this country, in Indonesia, I mean, so many article like constitution point 23, right of economy, right of right of life. That's right in our constitution. That's the country guarantee that our life and our economy is is our right to get better life in this country. The constitution guarantee that. So what I mean, if in reality we can make a parameter for to make decision that this right or this reward, because it's not theory we can get from there.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Antara. Maybe any response, or maybe someone have a different perspective on this, and maybe someone want to give an opinion about this, or maybe we just move on into the next question, or anyone want to give their own opinion about the topic.
Mr. Abian, maybe you can point one of the persons here to neutralize between the debate previously, because this is really interesting, every speaker has a different opinion. So let's hear another argument. Maybe you can point someone
Yes.
in our participants.
Maybe for because I have heard from most statement from the men, maybe I think I just go to female, maybe Miss maybe Mrs. Miss
Ria?
or Mr. Ria. Yes, maybe she won't have an opinion about. Because I think the concept is pretty simple. It's not complicated. It's just maybe you have a mind about this. Maybe you think about this. What you
Hello.
have. Oh, hello, Miss
Hello.
Ria.
Okay.
What's your view about freedom of choice? It is a right or reward?
Okay. My point of view about this topic about the freedom, this concept is freedom is for me. I think freedom is everyone's right, the power of right to act, to speak, to express, or even to think, whatever that we want to think, to choose also, and the state of not being imprisoned or a slave, and also the freedom is ability someone to ask without being controlled or limited from other.
Okay, thank you for the opinion. Maybe someone have argument or maybe have a different perspective. Like if you see the image, like you have seen the image from the slide, you just take from some random memes about you have a freedom of choice unless you choose it wrong. Maybe you have an opinion about this image. I'm not putting this for show. I mean, it's related to what the topic we discuss. What do you think? If you have a freedom of choice, why there are a choice that is wrong? Because you have the free. Why you are free to choose something bad? Maybe anyone have an answer for this? Because I'm kind of curious. If we have freedom of choice, why we should choose? Why we should have a bad choice? Like, I choose A over B. No, A is wrong. But what? I have freedom. So you have freedom for being bad? Or maybe it's just there isn't freedom of choice. Maybe another opinion. Maybe I will point out Miss Sophie about how she perceived the image from the slide. How will she answer the question? Miss Sophie.
Yes.
Yes.
Sorry, I just joined, sir. What was the
Okay.
question?
The question is, if you have a freedom of choice, why there is a wrong choice?
Okay. I'm not ready for that question, but why there is a wrong choice? Of course. Why not?
Maybe. So
Mm,
you think? So do you think that freedom doesn't always mean a good thing because you have choose a wrong choice? So it means you can become a bad person because you have freedom to become bad person.
Interesting. I think I see the freedom as I think it might be connected as the previous slide before I'm missing the discussion because I kind of out for about 10 minutes. And I
Okay.
saw the previous slides shown that whether freedom is a right or reward. In my opinion, I think freedom is more like right, because as a human being who live in this planet as one of the creature here, we already become a free creature. Whether maybe we weren't born to choose every single thing by our choice, but as we grown up, we literally a free man, even though we live in the many rules. For example, we live in a country that has regulation that we think that not match with our principle, but guess what, we still have rights to change this nationality, to move from another place. So even though we don't fit with the regulation from the company we work, from the a circle of friendship that we hang out with, or the bigger case, the country that we live in, we still have rights to choose what actually fits based on our principle. And actually and I think that is what we call as a freedom, to choose what fits on us, to choose the way that we want to live in as for our own self, as a citizen, as a friend, as a employee. I think that's our freedom there, to choose literally anything. So to connect with this light, why there is a wrong choice if freedom is actually free? The answer is because I think this is just a personal opinion.
Oh,
I
it's
think
okay.
yeah, I think basically because we have like experience. I mean, those wrong decision, wrong choice that we have made in the past, or maybe in the present time, is actually bring us to I think to be more wise, to I mean just impossible to have the ability to choose every single thing for our life, but in the always right, I mean perfectly with every single thing. That just impossible. So we need to pass the wrong decision moment and the failure moment. I think we need to pass those kind of process to bring us, in order to bring us to be a better choice in the future. I think that's it,
Oh.
sir. If that's answer your question.
Okay, thank you for the answer. It's a personal experience. Okay, maybe Mr. Andres want to have an argument about the picture. Why, if we have a choice, freedom of choice, why they are the wrong choice?
Well, to be honest, in certain circumstance, I cannot choose some choices, such as in the depth of my heart, I insist to live in the sun's temperature. However, my body cannot live in that situation. So because of that, the reality constrain me to follow the regulation, probably from our ancestor, genetics, or the physics law maybe, or quantum or God. So it is limited. However, in this limitation, in some condition, we can choose some options, such as if that is controlled by our activities, or probably controlled by our power. If I am being a president of Indonesia, maybe, or being a manager of in a certain department in a company, I have the power for choosing something. Now, in this condition, probably we will face some maybe ambiguity condition between the good or bad, between the true or false. Probably in the IELTS we call it as not given. Nah, including do not choose the option is an option also. Now, in this circumstance, it's gonna be dependent on the philosophical nature of our mind. I mean, like, if somebody is born as a hedonist, he will choose anything based on their happiness. They don't care about the nature. They don't care about um, the financials, maybe because they are hedonists. When we are talking about if somebody is born as a naturalist, for them deforestation is a bad choice. However, for capitalists, probably it's good because it could increase their wealthy. So it is like some of what the colorful of freedom itself. And I cannot say what is good and what is bad. And I say it depends on the nature of somebody. So, because of this consideration, the existence of government is a must for regulating people to choose their action and limit their freedom. Why? If it is not limited, probably it's gonna be it will bring the society to a much more worse condition because there is no any regulator. I will not say about the corruptions or any bad governance. However, I just want to say in a good condition, probably it's kind of a utopia. However, it is essential for society for having a ruler to constraining every civilian living under the power of the ruler. So it is like so theoretical, but so sorry, I just can't say this. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for Mr. Andres who have explained about why the freedom is basically just not a right because why there's a wrong choice. Maybe wrong is basically depends on each person. Maybe if you think that is wrong, maybe he think it's right, basically. So if I can really assume, basically if you have a freedom of choice, unless you choose wrong, it's just another gimmick because the person who choose maybe doesn't know if it is right or wrong, maybe. Or maybe another argument for this statement. So if you think that freedom of choice is a right or reward, does it means that freedom of choice really beneficial for us? Or maybe freedom of choice just another utopia, like Andres said, because thus we have a choice. Is it okay we have a freedom of choice? Is it benefit for us? Maybe for the society to choose what they want? Maybe raise your hand if you have an opinion. Does the freedom of choice beneficial or detrimental? Beneficial means a benefit, or detrimental means not benefit. It's bad. What do you think of this? Okay, Mr. Andres.
Well, because I am a biologist, it's normal to me to say that the optimum condition is the best choice. I mean, like if I live in the temperature between 20 until about 28 degrees Celsius, I can create a product more creative rather than I live under the temperature of 20 or more than 30 because it's too cold or too heat or hot to me. So there is a certain like a certain border between too bad. I mean, too cold or too hot. So it is
Okay, Mr. Anes,
beneficial.
do you think that freedom
Thank
of
you.
choice is benefit or not benefit?
It is benefit if it is limited. Thank you.
Okay. For Mr. Mehdi, do you think that freedom of choice is beneficial or not?
Yeah, thank you very much for the opportunities, Mr. Abian. I think basically
Yes,
the freedom of choice is beneficial for us, and it's very important for us because of what? Because I think the life is full of choice, and because of that, we have to. Because of that, the freedom of choice is very beneficial for us because in every single step that we take in this life is really determine how about our future. And the concept of freedom of choice is determined or not by the God or by utopian. I think it's also have how to say ada benarnya juga. But I think the most of all the most of all is depend on us, and I think the basic thing is freedom of choice is really beneficial for our lives in our lives. I think this.
Okay, so you think that freedom of choice is really beneficial. Maybe another have a different opinion about this and why. Maybe anyone have a different opinion, or maybe Mr. Mr. Satria, I think you have any opinion about freedom of choice? Does freedom of choice means beneficial or not beneficial or detrimental?
Actually, it's a bit confusing because I heard a lot of opinion from the participants here, but according to like Mr. Andres, Mr. Andres' explanations, I heard him. Then I said that the freedom of choice is kind of like something like encourage and encouragement, which is if you brave enough to choose something, you need to be brave enough to choose it. And then if you afraid, you feel what is it like a brave or afraid to do something or to choose something, because freedom it means that you're free to do whatever you want to. And,
okay.
Included freedom of choice. You can choose everything. You can choose anything you want. So yeah.
Basically, it's just beneficial for us.
Yeah, and then he said like freedom is a reward, right? So for me,
yes,
if a freedom is reward, it's why it's called freedom then? Because reward means you need to wait from someone or something or some people, right?
Yes.
Reward is it means like it's a gift, but freedom is not like that. It's like you even people fight for their freedom, right? Because it's considered as a right. Yeah.
Okay.
Because and of course when we're talking about right, it should be followed by responsibility.
Okay.
Thank you.
So
if you have
basically,
already doing your right, you cannot only wish for your right, but of course you need to do your responsibility too.
So basically, it just depends on people's responsibility.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you for the opinion from Mr. Satria. I appreciate that. But I kind of expect. Okay, Miss Sophie.
Yes, sir.
Do you think freedom of choice is benefit? Do you think freedom of choice?
I just add some because since the previous speaker mentioned that freedom is do whatever you want it to, it kind of triggered me to add more statement related to the slide that you have shown, because yeah, it's a good thing that we have the ability to choose or decide freely about our life, but don't forget too that we're not alone here. We live with a bunch of people with a variety of mindset, with, and also in particular places we still have there maybe a high culture. I mean, some habits, some cultural habits that the people who live there needs to follow, whether you want it or not. I mean, that just your responsibility to do, because you live there. And I saw some case for in from a friend of mine that they always voicing out that this is my principle, this is I'm a free man, I want to choose whatever I want to choose, but they're harming people. They're also not good. Just because you are a free man and you free to choose whatever principle that you want to choose, that doesn't mean that you torture, or how to find the right word, you scratch the others principle. I don't know if that's the correct words to describe, but correct, yeah. I mean, yeah, for example, let's talk about I'm just gonna take one sample outfit, for example. I'm a free woman. I can choose whatever I want to wear, because this is my body, this is my rights. But you need to also see your surroundings, that the place that you are at when you wear that outfit. If for example you wear kind of open in Aceh, for example, that's not suitable, right? Yeah, that's your body, but they have regulation there to maybe to punish you, or to give you some warning. And fortunately, the previous speaker also mentioned that whatever you want to choose, it should be followed by responsibility. I think that's the beautiful sentence that we need to highlight. Yeah, you can be a free man, you can choose whatever principle you want to choose of according to the way of life you want to live, but don't forget the responsibility as well. So I think yeah, I think we need to reminding ourselves always that there's always responsibility in every choice that we made. I think that's
Exactly.
it.
Okay, thank you. Or maybe Miss Nadia want to have an opinion.
Okay, thank you.
I think, in my opinion, originally we are born with a free will, so it means that it's constantly not a reward, since we are born with a privilege of having a freedom, free wills. Even God has secured that for us. Even God has created us to have the free will as our weakness, at the same time as our strength too. But since the development of human characters and their thoughts into thinking that they might be superior over one another, they might be more capable of leading, or even regulating, or formulating any policy to make a good government, or even to create an ideal citizenship. That's where the problem came, I think. So when we have restriction over how to be a better individuals who lives in a country and everything, that's where it seems like the freedom is a reward. So we have to be that ideal people that they have made us to believe, the rules that they constructed the government or anything who we consider as a leader, the way they perceived us, that's where the reward thoughts came. I mean, we have to earn this in order to be that. We have to make an effort in order to be free, for example. So I think the problem came, the concept of freedom as a reward came when we have restriction, when we have regulation and everything. But both of it came with a different concept. I think no matter how many leaders we have, we still have that free will in us. No matter how many regulation they met, we still can refuse not to even participating in on any of it. And there are so many people outside that they are citizens, but they're not following the rules. They're not paying taxes, and that's okay. They have their opinion about it. They have a better priority on what to do with their money. But originally, it will never be a reward because God has secured free will for us, and what comes after, it's our responsibility. But for now, in the worldly life, that free will determine whether we will have a happy ending or a complicated ending. That's in my opinion.
Okay, thank you. Maybe another question, or maybe there are many interesting points here, because just about a type of freedom is right of reward, even freedom of choice. Like there's consequences, responsibility, and so on. So let's move on just into the next topic, is a freedom of speech. Maybe everyone have some familiar about freedom of speech. Like you have play social media, so you know about freedom of speech. Maybe anyone have a talk about freedom of speech. Like, oh, I'm simply with this. Maybe what the concept of freedom of speech is basically this, like something like that. Maybe everyone have an impression about freedom of speech. Anyone have a view about freedom of speech? Or maybe I just point someone. Okay, Mr. Andres, what's your impression about freedom of speech?
Well, I'm still standing on my point of view that freedom is a reward. For this question, for me, the freedom for expressing anything that I want is a good thing, because it could chill out the level of stress in the midst of my brain, and it is essential to me to have this discussion because it is so funny, and it makes my dopamine level increase significantly. Talking about the freedom of speech also, besides of my happiness, it could also sharpen my ability in my speaking, because for a lot of people, because they don't have a space, or maybe because they feel that there is no the existence of freedom of speech, they don't have the ability of speaking well. However, because I have it, so I can sharpen this ability much better. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Maybe because I allow you to speak, so you have freedom of speech. Maybe yes. Okay. Next, anyone have an impression about freedom of speech? Maybe anyone have definition? Maybe you seems familiar, or maybe the freedom of speech. Oh, I feel like freedom of speech is increase my dopamine or something. Maybe anyone have opinion? Maybe Mr. Satria have an impression about freedom of speech.
Okay. Yeah, since our country, Indonesia, is a democracy country, yeah. So of course we do know about the freedom of speech, yeah. But people know this, like it's not able to apa ya, membedakan gitu.
to different.
Yeah, the different they, which is the, criticism, hate speech, hoax, or
So
whatever. Yeah, so
So
it's
basically, like the image provided here, like someone think like free of speech is just verbal abuse, like that.
something like that. It means like they apa ya? They mencampurkan
They mix.
everything. They mix everything. Yeah, about speech, about spoken with one freedom of speech. I mean, like they do hate speech, they do hoax or something like that. Yeah, whether our country is democracy, like I mentioned before, but of course we have rules here in our country. Not only about rule of law, but we have like
Okay, so
maybe society or our groups people or our communities or something like that. So yeah, you're free to speak whatever you want, but it's still you need to consider your surrounding.
so basically, the freedom of speech is kind of confusing, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
if you mention only freedom of speech,
Maybe
because
if you speak, you hurt someone.
yes, it's some kinds of freedom of speech, like a hate speech, and then criticism, and so on, so on.
Okay, thank you for the opinion. Maybe anyone have an opinion because are you anyone agree that freedom of speech literally confusing, or maybe it's just freedom of speech is good? Maybe anyone have an opinion about freedom of speech? Maybe anyone who want to maybe Miss Sophie have an opinion because Mr. Satria said that freedom of speech is kind of confusing, like you even hate speech is considered as freedom of speech. What?
I'm actually eating, but
Okay.
I will give a few sentences. I think I remember Mr. Andres' statement. He said, freedom, if I'm not mistaken, he said freedom could be considered if there is limitation. I remember the word, there is limitation there. So even though the host, for example, already give you a freedom to speak, but there's also the regulation that can limit the time that you speak, or maybe the word that you can voice out to avoid the mm, the messy, if I'm not mistaken. So to make this the discussion run smoothly, cooperative, we should set the limit of the words, the limit of the time, so everyone could feel as free as you are as well. Because since the discussion not only about a single person, right? The discussion is for everyone's here in general. So everyone, the regulation is very important to be set. In this case, the one who have the ability to set the regulation is the host, to lead the discussion, to allow who can speak first or who can speak longer, to just to make the cooperative discussion. I think that's it.
Okay, thank you for the opinion. Maybe I've been because Miss Sophie said that freedom of speech is different. Maybe there are limitation, but I kind of have some confusion here because limitation basically an opposition of freedom. So if we set a limitation or maybe have responsibility about our speech, does we mean that we actually don't have any freedom of speech at all? Okay, Miss Nadia.
Thank you. So limitation is determination whether whether it is appropriate to do or not, because I believe that because I believe that whenever whenever we as a human have the power to free speech, it doesn't mean that we can make it into a real life or accessible to realize it in our life. So freedom of speech and so in the end of everything, not every opinion matters, because in the end of everything, who have the authority will show that the opinions can be realized, and whenever the citizen talk too much or give their opinion, not all of that opinion can be realized. And also those opinion maybe is not accessible for general human being. That's why we also need this determination as the freedom, as the limitation of the free of speech. So simply it is matter, but not that matter. I hope that you can understand it.
Basically, I think I still really, I don't know, limitation kind of side. So I kind of think that actually freedom of speech is just doesn't implement it really well. Not only Indonesia, maybe all our country doesn't even implement the freedom of speech well. So, any other opinion regarding of freedom of speech? Actually, does really freedom of speech really matters? There are regulation for internet regulation, or someone said like in Indonesian who say ITE because you speak too much. So I literally cannot consider this like a freedom, maybe. But maybe if anyone have different opinion about this. Anyone have an opinion? What for someone I point, maybe Miss Ria have an opinion about freedom of speech. Miss Ria, have you have a different opinion about freedom of speech?
My point of view about the freedom of speech, I think that everyone can speak whatever they think they want to speak, but there's a responsibility about the rule of society. Even the society is not right about the rule of society. We know as concepts, it's like we live in the society. It's like what we to do.
Like maybe you feel like restricted.
Yes, exactly. So that's why whatever that we want to uphold, we have the rule of society, like we should be polite person, maybe because of the education also. We'll after we get the education, we know about the bad impact or positive impact, so that's why we can, even it's free choices, so that's why we can choose whatever we want. But the end of ending, first of all, is responsibility.
Oh, no, basically, I think it's not absolute thing about this kind of freedom of speech, basically, because of regulation or something. So I think it's so. Another question about this freedom of speech, this is the last question for the topic of freedom of speech. Does freedom of speech really beneficial or detrimental? Does real freedom of speech have the benefit or not? And if I have a few, maybe it's kind of confusing because the current internet, we have some kind of you think like some stupid opinion in Twitter or maybe other social media. I think freedom of speech is kind of bad. If you maybe anyone have a different opinion about this, it's also kind of good because you have will to express your opinion. Maybe Miss Nadia have an opinion. Does really freedom of speech beneficial?
Pardon? Would you mind to
Does
repeat?
does freedom of speech really beneficial or not?
Basically, based on what I've already argued before, when you have the authority and the power to say your opinion, then you are beneficial to say it. But as a citizen, like we are a dusk in the middle of everything, not every opinion is matter. Also because we don't have the authority, and also because we are alive, because we are not in the position that everyone seeking for our speech or our argumentation, or sorry, our speech to lead us to something. So I believe that it is related also to our position. And my friend wants to add.
So for me personally, when you see free of speech as a space for you to express your thoughts just for the sake of argumentative feedback to the sake of humanity, or as your contribution to the process of thought, I think you can always consider free of speech as a beneficial space. But if you consider free of speech as a way to act when you don't have the power to do so, you can be very disappointed. So it depends on the will behind it. If you use the free of speech only as a space for discussion or to exchange argumentation or ideas, you will always can count on it. But when you don't have authorities, you have to work on it. For example, if you don't lead any government title, but when you are a journalist or you are a writer, author, you can always have power on your speech to act upon something, to gather the crowd and everything. So when you have argumentative concept or ideas, it also have to followed by power. So, but for the sake of fun, for the sake of us as a human being socially interactive to other people, it's always entertaining and it's free. So it's free, it's entertaining, and it's making us more intellectual by adding other people's thoughts and exchanging ideas. I think that's always makes us brilliant amongst other people to have so many uncountable different opinion that we got from other people. So yeah, that's it.
So the freedom of speech is beneficial also, basically which space we share it and through what the medium we share it. That's from us. Thank you.
Okay, and thank you from both of you. So freedom of speech is basically mostly beneficial. Yes, because you have expressed your opinion, but also beneficial because if there are many stupid opinions, maybe you can provide some smart thinking about that. So we're gonna do into the next slide. There's also freedom of reward. So maybe if Mr. Andres really familiar about this, he always spoke many times about freedom as reward. Now, what's your impression about freedom as reward? Maybe you have an example of freedom as reward. Like if you can really relate this image with the topic. Mr. Andres?
Oh, well, thank you. For me, living in this world is not my choice. For me, it is a reward. I cannot choose to live in this world by my own self. So I consider it as a given from whom I don't know, where I have this recognition, where I have this point of view, where I can say it is a reward also. I don't know. So for me, um, the freedom as a reward is a nature of this life, and it's the reality that I see in my day-to-day activities. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Andres. Maybe anyone have an opinion? Why? What is the meaning of freedom as reward? Like, you read the image. What the meaning of freedom as reward? What's your impression of freedom as reward? Like, for example, like if you have some assignment or homework, if you done your homework, I think is a freedom because I don't need to do my homework. Does it consider as a freedom? Maybe anyone have an opinion, like Miss Sophie have an opinion about freedom as reward?
Okay. Being able to get. Sorry, sir, your question was if there is homework and it's my freedom to decide whether I want to do it or not. Is that right?
Okay.
I think if the question is that your freedom to choose whether you want to do it or not? Yes, but
Yes.
still the responsibility follow behind whether you're gonna be punished in the next morning or you're gonna be you should do double tests for the next lecture. So I think no one can limit you when it comes to the homework case. No one can limit you or push you whether you should do it or you don't do it. The only one is yourself. It's same with thesis. Oh my god, it's kind of sensitive when we're talking about thesis because I'm on my 10th semester. Not proud, but that's embarrassing achievement actually. But it's my freedom to choose to be in this semester.
Okay.
But my responsibility as well to carry the shameness that I should witness all my friends graduate and find the works from their patient while I'm here struggling, working, finishing my thesis. That's my responsibility based on my choice. My choice was I want to postpone the progress of my thesis. So yeah, I have the I have the freedom to postpone it, but I have to carry the responsibility until now. I think it's still it is still considered as a freedom.
Okay, thank you. Maybe I think there's not a lot to be discussed in here. Oh, maybe Mr. Satria have an opinion about freedom as reward.
No, I just want to put some more. Yeah, it's some more from previous speakers. Maybe whatever you do, there is always like a consequences, whether it's a good consequence or the bad consequence. So yeah, I just want to put there.
Okay, Mr. Andres, any talk?
Yes, I want to talk. Thank you for this opportunity. Like this, I cannot choose what I want to think, including that. If I want to think something, but I fail, I call it as forget. So why forget is exists if we have the freedom of thinking. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, next we have another topic called financial freedom. I think it's basically a freedom and economic. Like some said that financial freedom is having enough savings of your money for investment so you can afford anything. Or some even say financial freedom is should be provided by a government to the society from the start. So what do you think? Does financial freedom require us to saving our money to fulfill our better life, or does financial freedom should be given by an authority to us? Any opinion about that? Maybe what? Maybe Mr. Satria have talk about financial freedom.
I'm still settled, so I don't know what to say.
So maybe I will repeat the question.
Yeah.
Okay. The question is,
have you changed the slide, because it's still on me? It's still freedom as a reward here.
I think I changed the slide here because the discussion is kind of
very delayed here, I guess.
Yes. So, do you think that financial freedom is require you to saving your income for your retirement, or maybe you think that financial freedom should be provided by authority to you?
Well, actually, I never think about the I mean, like the economic plan, like myself. I mean, like I'm working and then I got the money and then I don't know, because
I mean, it's like it's good. Like sometimes, like government literally care for you and give you some good income for your personal freedom, or maybe
government give it for free.
Yeah, like government support your economy, like that.
Yeah, of course. If the government willing to give us the, some kind of money or whatever, yeah, of course, it's gonna be very good for us.
Okay. And also, thank you for your opinion. And Ms. Andres, have you have some talk about financial freedom?
Well, I just read the notion. Wait. Well, to be honest, it is not my expertise because I am not a person who possess a financial freedom. I am still poor. Sorry. So I suppose that I am not pretty eligible to, and I'm not really eligible to answer this question. However, if I could guess, I suppose that I need the not the government, not also my struggle, my hustle and bustle to gain my own wealthy. No. It depends on the fortune. If I am born from a wealthy family, I will have the financial freedom from the beginning of my life. If it is given, I mean, if I have a good body, I have a healthy body also, which cannot be managed by my own self. Seems like what the hell, the coronavirus a few years ago. If there is no any pandemic, it is a fortune also. Even though it is given by the government, it is a fortune. If it is our hustle, our struggle to get the financial freedom from our hand by working from 9 to 9, maybe from Sunday to Sunday. So them busy. So if it is not the fortune of mine, I cannot reach it. So it depends on the fortunate level of your life. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So Ms. Nadia, have anything to say about financial freedom notion?
Okay, so about financial freedom. Okay, I believe that in this world we running this life because we know that we need that money for our life. But however, if we take a look to the history, we know that even before the governor actually running the sources to share it to the people, to the citizen. However, currently not all of the country, even our country, do not share it to the citizen because maybe there is a lot of problem in the government itself. That's why all of the sources they handle it and they absorb it, and we as the citizen cannot feel it anyway. Because we get older, we can compare each of the country. And however, in right now there are several countries that also help the citizen for their financial problem. For example, Germany and UK, they have that kinds of financial support for parents or children that is in the program of school, to help those kind of citizens, to help them for their education, to help them for their work. Because the government of that country realized that the freedom or the accessibility for people of their financial is not only belong to themselves as a human, but because the government running the resources that they are living together in that places, it means that the people that live in that places also have the have something that they can earn from it. That's why we as an older people can decide whether we want to stay in this kind of country or choose another country that save us with our financial problem. Of course, every decision will follow by consequences. That's why, like, in this, both of the argumentation are still debatable, but I believe that financial freedom can depends on how we see it and depends on where we live. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for your opinion. I think maybe anyone have another opinion, or we just conclude what we get from this meeting. So still anyone have an opinion about financial freedom? Anyone? Or we just conclude the meeting because I think like the time is kind of short. Even though I have many discussions, but I decided to wrapping this up. So any conclusion that we manage? Maybe someone can conclude what our meeting is about. What have you learned from this discussion? Anyone? Maybe Mr. Andres have a conclusion about what do we discuss? Maybe after we discussing this, you feel smart about freedom.
Well, thank you for this opportunity and occasion. I suppose that if I am being a smart person, it means that I am not again a philosopher. So
Okay.
I wish to become a stupid person. I am not being more smart. I'm not being smarter because of this discussion. Why? Because I have more questions in the midst of my brain. So sorry, I cannot conclude this discussion.
Okay. Yeah. So maybe Mr. Anders really deep into philosophy because most philosopher doesn't consider themselves as smart people. Also, for Miss Nadia, what can you conclude in this meeting?
Oh, thank you. I believe that freedom is actually depends on how we see it. So it also depends on how we encourage ourselves to see the freedom itself. How about you, Pak? Okay.
Probably freedom is something that rightfully ours in the beginning and until the end. And the determination whether we can make the most out of it is how we perceived it, and the result or the outcome of how we take the privilege of the freedom itself will be resulted in the end of our lives. So can't wait to see.
Okay, thank you. That's from us.
Okay, thank you from Mr. Nadia and our friend Miss Yas. Another one who have a conclusion. Maybe Mr. Satria have a conclusion about this meeting. If you don't have a conclusion, what do you think about this discussion?
Well, the discussion was very good. Yeah.
Okay. Also, Mr. Andres have something in mind.
Yes. I just want to put it simple. It is just merely a mumbo jumbo discussion. So I
that's why we call it as a discussion, because if we have a one-side opinion, and it is not considered as a discussion anyway.
Yeah. And we are free to express it, right?
Yes, it's about free. So doesn't mean that everyone have a same opinion about it. Okay, also maybe Miss Sophie have a conclusion, or maybe what do you think about this discussion?
For the conclusion, I think that's enough, sir. We can listen. I completely agree with the previous speaker who has concluded. But what I think about this discussion, first of all, I would like actually say thank you so much, sir, for bringing up this topic, and for being such a amazing host, because I really enjoy the discussion. I really enjoy every participant's argument. It's just though we have some contradictory opinion, which is that's okay, but it doesn't sound like tight in our throat. It's not sounds like a debate. So we're cool. We're all cool. It means
Yeah,
because the moderator is doing a very good job. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you for your appreciation. I think because I choose this topic because I even myself interested in this concept of freedom. Because of what? Because the concept is still vague from every aspect. So that's why I'm interested in this. Or maybe anyone have an opinion before we close this topic? Anyone have a conclusion? Or doesn't anyone doesn't have any conclusion? So maybe I could really sum this up. I have an interesting time discussing this with all of you, and I can conclude that the freedom could be a right, or also it could be a reward. It depends on how you view the concept of freedom. It could be a right, it could be a reward. Because right, because you have given from the start the freedom, and it's reward because sometimes you need to reach the authority, so you can be admitted to use your freedom well. And also it's different, and that I can get from this discussion. Also, I think I have a pleasant time in here, enjoying the discussion here. So I thank you for the host who provide me a room for this topic. Thank you for your appreciation, and
Okay.
maybe the host, I will leave the rest of the closing to the host, if I may. Okay, thank you.
Okay, well, thank you very much, Mr. Abi. Yeah, it's like what Mr. Andres said, mumbo jumbo, right? So this discussion is really opens our minds to know about what the definition of the freedom is. So, Mr. Sir, can you share out from the your slide?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Abi. Yeah, so a little bit of feedback for our discussions for today. Yeah, thank you very much for making us really comfort to discuss and also to practice our English. So yeah, we are from OTA trying to give you a feedback every single of the discussion. So the feedback is not determine we are smarter than you. So this feedback is only trying to improve your skill in English and trying to give your insight. Ya, pertama tadi ada yang banyak yang menggunakan kata because of that ya. Mungkin secara grammatical it's not problem, tapi ketika kita mengarah kepada official English kayak di IELTS ataupun di beberapa kegiatan yang lebih condong ke formal, ya kata because of that di situ bisa teman-teman ganti dengan therefore. Itu bakal lebih apa ya, formal dan ningkatin vocabulary levelnya di situ. Jadi I go to school, ya therefore, nah itu sama kayak because of that di situ. Jadi teman-teman semua bisa mengganti because of that dengan therefore di situ. Terus juga ada beberapa yang in speaking kayak saya juga sering juga menggunakan filler ya. Filler itu apa? Ketika kita speaking itu ada kata kayak dan sebagainya di situ ya. Jadi kadang di dalam public speaking ataupun di berbagai macam tes speaking juga kayak IELTS dan sebagainya itu juga sebuah hambatan bagi kita untuk mendapatkan skor tinggi di situ. Nah, filler ini ya daripada itu teman-teman bisa ganti ya dengan kata ataupun dengan space. Kalau teman-teman ganti dengan space ya, make sure jangan lebih dari 4 detik atau 5 detik di situ. Jadi ketika teman-teman blank, diam aja. Jadi jangan ya. Walaupun itu related sama sebuah kebiasaan dan sebagainya, tapi teman-teman bisa manage ketika teman-teman sudah menyadarinya bahwasanya itu adalah filler gitu. Nah, jadi bisa stop ya sekitar 3 sampai 4 detik baru dilanjutin lagi. Atau bisa menggunakan kata-kata ya. Dengan menggunakan kata-kata kayak what is that? Ya, how to call it? Dan sebagainya. Jadi ketika teman-teman blank nih, I go to school and how to call it, how to say that. Nah, juga bisa seperti itu daripada I go to school and nah, jadi nggak menarik kan di situ. Jadi teman-teman bisa mengganti atau nge-solve problem of your filler tersebut dengan what is that atau how to call it di situ. Ya. Selanjutnya tadi ada yang menggunakan kata is not make. Nah, kalau sekarang kita relate sama grammarnya ya. Is not make di sini saya yakin di sini teman-teman mengarahnya ke verbal sentence ya. Jadi kalau kalimat verbal di situ harus ditambahkan do atau does ya. Nah, karena it di situ ketemunya does, sorry, is-nya dihilangin, it doesn't make ya. Nah, it does not make ya, atau dalam bahasa speakingnya lebih bagus diganti it doesn't make gitu. Tapi kalau di dalam writing teman-teman nggak boleh buat doesn't ya, apalagi kayak writing for IELTS itu nggak boleh ada penyingkatan yang don't, doesn't, won't, itu nggak boleh dalam writing, official writing ya, kayak writing for essay ataupun writing for proposal dan sebagainya itu dilarang ada peningkatan ya. Jadi bukan it's not make tapi it doesn't make ya dalam speakingnya yang tepat. Mungkin kalau ketika teman-teman ingin mempelajari lebih jauh ya, kenapa bisa does ya, kenapa punya keluar, teman-teman bisa mempelajari kalimat verbal dan non verbal. Oke, terus sedikit tentang grammar tadi yang keluar yang dengerin. Selanjutnya tadi ada yang menggunakan kata determine ya. Jadi cara untuk mempelajari pronunciation ataupun pengucapan tersebut teman-teman bisa membeli buku Oxford ya biasanya. Oxford atau Cambridge di situ. Dan di dalam buku Oxford atau Cambridge itu ada namanya phonetic symbol. Phonetic symbol itu cara pembacaan di dalam bahasa Inggris yang baik dan yang benar di situ. ketika kita lihat ya, determine ini bacanya bukan determine, tapi bacanya adalah determine ya, determine. Jadi bukan mind, determine, bukan determine tapi determine di situ. Nah, jadi bukan determine sekali lagi yaitu determine. Selanjutnya bukan high ya, tapi high ya, kita lihat di sini high di dalam pengertian simbolnya. Terus juga bukan matter ya, tapi matter ya. It depends on your accents. If you're trying to take the British accent, it'll be matter. Tapi kalau American accent, it'll be matter. Matter pakai D ya. Jadi bukan pakai T, bukan matter, tapi matter. If you're trying to speak, it's like American. But if you're trying to speak, it's like a British, maybe will be different. It's like matter ya. Jadi depend on the accent. Terus tadi ada yang bingung bahasa Inggrisnya ada benarnya di situ. Teman-teman bisa menggunakan there is a point, said that ya juga bisa. Tergantung apanya ya, konteksnya di situ. Ada benarnya there is a point juga bisa digunakan bahasa tersebut. There is a truth dan sebagainya, tapi lebih cocoknya di sini there is a point karena konteksnya tadi seperti itu yang lebih cocok, yang pengetahuan saya yang saya dengar tadi ya. Terus membedakan ya, bisa menggunakan distinguish ya. Sekali lagi ya, dalam bahasa itu meaningnya bisa banyak di situ. Jadi hati-hati ya teman-teman ya. Contohnya kayak book ya. Orang tahu book itu artinya buku kan. Tapi di sini maknanya bisa lain. Bisa artinya memesan, maknanya ada kata booking dan sebagainya. Jadi coba dilihat lagi karena beberapa kata di situ ada yang maknanya bisa berubah. Satu kata kayak distinguish ini juga bisa maknanya apa ya, beragam di situ, nggak beda aja tapi beragam. Makanya kalau di apa ya, acara PBB pasti dibuka sama sekjen itu Mr. Chair and distinguished delegates di situ, kayaknya kan di awal di situ. Jadi distinguished itu maknanya berbeda di situ kan, membeda artinya. Selanjutnya mencampurkan ya. Tadi udah dijawab juga sama Mr. Abian ya, bisa menggunakan kata mix di situ. Nah, terus juga ini bukan permasalahan yang kompleks di situ, tapi di lain sisi ada bagusnya. Apa yang bisa teman-teman lakukan adalah mencoba untuk nge-improve vocabularies-nya. Tadi kebanyakan menggunakan kata I think ya. Coba kasih variasi dalam speakingnya. Mungkin di kalimat pertama teman-teman menggunakan I think. Di kalimat kedua diganti, jangan I think lagi. Coba diganti I suppose. Nah kayak Mr. Andres tadi dia menggunakan banyak kata I suppose. Jadi itu ada sebuah fresh vocabulary yang bisa digunakan. Atau I assume juga bisa. I start saying that juga bisa. As far as I'm concerned juga bisa. As my point of view juga bisa di situ. Jadi banyak variasi vocabularies-nya. Can ya juga bisa diganti di situ. Kayak I can speak English, I'm able to speak English juga bisa. Atau I am capable of speaking English juga bisa. Atau saya bisa mengerjakan pekerjaan tersebut ya. I manage to finish that job juga bisa di situ. Jadi bukan I can aja. Jadi banyak sinonim vocabularies yang lebih tinggi di situ yang membuat teman-teman bakal lebih keren di situ speakingnya. Terus get ya juga bisa diganti. Mungkin teman-teman bisa download aplikasi Thesaurus ya. Thesaurus saya lupa ya. Thesaurus ya. Itu di situ teman-teman bisa nemuin berapa vocab-vocab pengganti di situ dan vocab-vocab yang levelnya lebih tinggi. Jadi ternyata ya kalau teman-teman yang masih belum tahu di situ vocabulary itu ada levelnya di situ, ada B1, C1 dan sebagainya. Semakin tinggi vocab levelnya, biasanya kalau teman-teman tes IELTS skornya bakal lebih tinggi di situ. Dan di Thesaurus itu teman-teman bisa menemukan di situ level-level vocab yang tinggi apa aja di situ ya. Jadi bisa di-download tuh buat teman-teman yang pengen belajar gitu. Terus maybe ya mungkin bisa get mungkin bisa diganti dengan obtain ya. Terus apalagi acquire juga bisa. Terus apalagi ya. Terus kalau uang ya lebih cocoknya langsung earn aja di situ daripada I get money ya, nggak kurang pas. Jadi cocoknya ada I earn money ya, juga bisa di situ. Terus maybe juga bisa diganti visibly, juga bisa diganti possibly ya, bisa diganti apa lagi ya. banyak di situ maybe. Jadi nggak maybe aja. About di situ. Nah, ini aboutnya juga lumayan banyak. Jadi bisa I talk about bla 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 juga bisa. I'd like to talk regarding bla 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 juga bisa. I'd like to talk apa ya? Apa lagi ya? Regarding, terus bisa ya saya lupa ya, ada beberapa vocab yang bisa digunakan di situ. Mungkin teman-teman ada ide, mungkin bisa taruh di kolom chat ya, selain regarding, concerning juga bisa ya. Terus bad juga bisa diganti apa ya? Yang lebih enaknya kalau bahasa halusnya biasanya kalau di PBB ya, kayak saya dengar beberapa menteri-menteri yang speech dia menggunakan kata substandard ya. Substandard regulation, bukan bad regulation gitu. Jadi halus di situ bahasanya, dan bahasa diplomasinya itu lebih keren di situ, yang bisa memperkaya speaking kita. Terus but ya bisa diganti dengan however, di situ lebih condong ke formalnya. Terus yang terakhir ya, intonation nih mungkin bisa teman-teman improve juga di situ. Karena audience, ketika kita bicara public speaking, audience ada yang auditory ya, ada yang apalagi ya, auditory, terus ada yang visual, ada yang kinestetik di situ. Mungkin kita belajarnya secara offline, secara online, yang kita nggak bisa mengeluarkan semua skillnya di situ. Tapi ketika konteksnya seperti ini, pasti auditori adalah senjata kita di situ. Jadi ketika teman-teman speech dan memberikan argumen teman-teman secara menarik ya, intonation itu coba lebih diperkaya lagi di situ. Jadi nggak flat ya, gaya state itu nggak flat, gaya dia nge-convey sebuah argumen itu nggak flat di situ. Jadi ada up and down, up and down. Jadi orang-orang comfort, nyaman di situ ketika membawakan ketika mendengarkan kita di situ ya. Nah, jadi ya itu ada beberapa feedback mungkin yang ada ya, yang kita dari teman-teman OTA pahamin di situ. Mungkin kalau teman-teman ada tambahan lagi mungkin bisa ditambahkan di grup ya, di grup komunitas OTA 1, 2 atau OTA 3 di situ. Oke, terima once more time. Thank you very much for Mr. Abian ya, has become our contributor for tonight discussion. Is really inspiring, sir. Thank you so much. Yeah, before we close our discussion or our our community today. So I would like to invite you to take a picture together. So let's turn on your camera, please. Hello, Mr. Andres. Yeah, maybe Miss Nat or Miss Yas, Mr. Dan, Mr. Satria, Miss Melanie. Yeah, please turn on your camera because we're going to take a picture together. If you may, if you cannot, never mind. Yeah, because it's freedom, right? It's all about freedom. Okay, well, 3, 2, 1, cheers. Slide 1. Okay, and slide 2. Okay, thank you very much for tonight discussion, guys. Thank you so much for Mr. Abian. Thank you so much for every speakers here that has given their argument. I close with our chant. Hell Ota, yesterday, you say tomorrow. Okay, see you next week in episode number 145. Bye-bye.